What's up guys, Souls Gaming here, welcome back to another tutorial, and I'm so sorry that it took so long to make another tutorial, but today I'm going to show you how to make a spatial background. And now basically what I mean by spatial background is a nebula, you know, that colorful background I'm going to show you. I'll show you in this level right here, because why not, you know? Alright, so the first thing we got here, as soon as it loads, here we go. As you see here in the background, we have a nice little nebula here. Nice little colorful background. And I also have one in A New Theory 2. Let's see if I can find it before the beat drop. I'm also going to show you how to make these planets here. These real cool planets. It's real simple and really easy to make them. And you can make them really effective as a background. And this planet right here, I can also show you how to make this. It's actually really simple and really easy. And yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is, you know, go ahead and set your background. Go ahead and set your ground to whatever you like. But what I like to do is I like to make the background black, the ground black, not green, black. Yep. And since I'm only using ground and not ground 2, well, to be on the safe side, I'm just going to make that black. And we're going to use a ship. And I might as well make it mini as well. And choose a random custom song here. Let's see what we got here. And we're just going to use... Let's just use a Euphoria by DJ Abik. You know? Alright, so first thing what you want to do is go over here. Find these blocks right here. And make it a 2x2. Have a 4 square block. And let's go into preview mode. What I like to do is like select any color and make it black, or match the color of the background. But in my case, I'll make it black. Move it over to the approximate size that you want your plant to be. So if you want it to be super small, you could do this. And if you want it to be super small, bring them close together. If you want your plant to be big, then you can move it over. And so on and so forth. So we're going to make our plant like a medium sized. And also make sure that the radius is even. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And just keep counting like that. So it stays even. Because if it goes uneven, then the planet's going to be uneven. And unless you want an uneven planet, then don't do it. Alright, so what? So, let me explain. After you copy paste it, select the 2. And like I did, copy paste and move it over. By either clicking on the rotate or pressing E or Q, which are fast keys. Now what we're going to do is select all of these again, copy paste, and what I like to do is, like, you can freehand it if you want to, but what I like to do is I'd like to rotate it by 45 since it's already conveniently already there. And then you continue this, select, copy paste, and now you start freehanding it. And then you continuously do this until you get a perfect circle. And there you go. Now you got the background. Now you got the circle, which you're going to put the planet within. Now, we're just going to move this right here. We're going to layer this, so it's going to be B3, negative 10. And then, we're going to have the planet in a different layer. We're going to go to the glowing decoration, get the biggest one, and whatever color you prefer your planet to be, stick with that color if you wish to. We're going to make our planet, let's go make a red planet. I never really made a red planet, so let's go ahead and test this out. Alright, you can go out of preview mode for this, and what we're going to do is going to move this glow into B4. And if you want to assure that it stays under, we're going to make this negative 11. Just to be sure. You don't have to do this. And now, as you can see the little glow, now you can tell where the outside perimeter of the planet that you're going to be able to see. Be careful to stay within, because if you go out, then the background won't work. And I'll show you later how to make the background that covers the glow bigger. But right now, what I'm doing is I have free move, and I have selected one of the large scaled up glows, Now I'm holding Control and D while having this on free move. You don't have to have it on rotate though. And I'm holding Control and pressing D. That's a quickest way to copy paste. Hold Control and press D. Now we don't want this to be one bold planet. We want this to have a little bit of depth. So what we can do is make the Z layer. You move it up one, so you can add some dark patches. And to add dark patches, you can either use a completely different color, or you can use the same color and use hue, saturation, or brightness. And we're going to use the brightness so we can make it darker. We're going to say about 70. And now, as you can see, it has a little bit of darkness in it. And if you want to reset it back to a normal color, just press the trash can, and then you can continue on. And now we're going to layer this below the red and have a little bit of a darker one, and you can just continue the process around the circle until you have a full planet. Make this part a little brighter while still being under. And there you go. We're starting to get a little bit of a red planet. Now, you will see those dark black patches, and if you don't want that, what you can do is I'm going to layer 2. I'm going to select this block right here, put this on B4, and put it below the glow, and collect the same color as the glow. And I'm just going to make it easier for me. I'm going to make that same 2x2 cube, move it big, and make sure to keep these blocks within the black so it doesn't leak out. Like, see? Doesn't leak out. And this is so you can fill in the black patches of the planet if you don't want black patches, and be sure to make them the same color. There you go. This helps, like, just get rid of the transparency, you know? And there we go. Got a nice red planet here. Looks really nice, I believe. And if you want to, you can add a little bit of shadow to it, which I will show you now. Going out of preview mode. We're going to go to the small, not really small, the medium-sized glow. The rectangle one, and then the little corner. Yep. Little rounded corner. Gonna make it black. I always like to make my color for black. Make sure it's on top of layered on top of everything. If you want the shadowing, except for the outside, make sure it's within the barrier. Is it within the barrier? No, it's not. So I'll make it 11. And now we're starting to use the rotate tool, and now we're doing the same thing with Control D and move it over. But in these situations, what I like to do is I just like to click on the copy paste. Since we don't have to spam it everywhere, I just like to click copy paste. And also we're going to scale it a little bit so the shadows are a little bit bigger. And if the shadows are too dark, what you can do is make a new color black, like I'm doing here, black, and lower the opacity. And if you don't want to go to edit object, what you can do is, let's do this right here. Say like that opacity is way too low. What I'm going to do is go to this layer, select one object of that same color, and click on this. You can adjust the color to however you please. You can either make it darker or more appealing. Like, this side is opacity, this is brightness and darkness, this is, actually no, yeah, this is brightness and darkness, this is the saturation, and these are the different colors. So if you want it to be lighter, you can move it up. If you want it darker, move it down. If you want more opacity, move it up. If you want less opacity, you move it down. And there you go. Now if you want to, I'm gonna copy paste this, gonna layer this on top. Oh, not the square, whoops. Copy the glow, layer it on top of all the glow, get the low opacity black, free move, and now you can add little shadows on top of the planet. Simple as that. And if the shadows are too large, just lower the opacity. Really nice. And this affects all colors. Like, this is the color ID. All colors with this exact same ID will do the exact same thing to that part. So be careful when doing this. Now we have a little. Whoops, let's move it down. I think I made the planet a little bit too big, but it's fine. Got a nice little planet here. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a red aura, or a red aura basically around it. What we can do is really simple, like we've been doing before. Get the red glow. This time we can layer it on top of the red. The black, I mean. Whoopsies. Now we're going to make this bright red with blending. And, let's go out of preview mode to help us out a little bit. Make sure it's centered. Copy paste it. One at the top, one at the bottom. Zoom out. Copy these two. Okay. Move it like I did before. So I selected it and I copied it, pressed E or Q so I can make them on all 4 points. Then move it 45, rotate it 45, then free move it. Then you continue this process until you get the full planet. And it's starting to look really nice. Nice planetary background. This is a great way to make your own custom background as well. Now that looks a little bit too red, so what I can do is I'm going to select one of the reds. Whoops. Be careful with swipe. Alright, get one of the reds. And I can either lower the brightness so you can see the outskirts of the planet, or I can lower the saturation if I wanted to, or lower the opacity. In this case, I'm just going to make it darker and lower the opacity while keeping the same saturation. And there you go. Nice glowing red planet. Now I can... Actually, let's adjust that a little bit more. We can have a little brighter. Just the color a little bit. It's fine right there. There you go. And if it's unpatched or have patches everywhere, what you can do, it takes a lot of objects though. Copy paste it and move the fuller parts over a little bit while still effectively moving down. And there you go. Now you have an aura around the planet. Now I'm going to show you how to make the nebula. So we're just going to move the planet up. Move it up right here. That's our planet up there. Alright, for the nebula, it's one of the simplest things to do. Is you determine what color you want your nebula. So pink, blue, orange, whatever color. We're going to stick with the theme, make it red. We could use the same color, but we're just going to use different colors. So I'm just going to use this red. Nebulas are usually bright or dark, and I like having dark nebulas, and I like to have them blending. You don't have to necessarily make them blending. What you can do is lower the opacity, but I'm just going to use blending. I cannot speak English. Alright. Actually, I'm using the wrong one. Whoops, my bad. There you go. Use the largest one for the nebulous, so it can take up more space and less objects. And free move, no rotate. Scale it to a max, and start copy pasting it. Moving it over. Make sure it's spread out, but not too spread out, so it's not really like spatial nebula, like, looks a little bit organized. And continue this process for a little while. And now I can change the hue a little bit so it looks more realistic. Make it 20. Let's see how that looks. Let's do -20. Makes more of the purple side. Have this little tint around the red. Could also make the come over a little bit. And there you go. We already have a nebula. Real simple, really easy nebula. And if you want to, I believe, is that you can make this layer on top of the planet. Select the planet, move it down, and there you go. Now you have a planet with a nebula on top of it. Now you have outer space without stars. So now we're going to make stars, which is even easier than the nebula. but it does take a lot more time, so we're just going to move this over. Stars are literally the corner pieces of 1.9 or etc. The corner pieces is what we're going to use to make the stars. All we gotta do is copy paste these. This is a long process and takes a while. That's why I'm just making this a little bit sloppy. Doesn't look as enthusiastic as I wanted it to, but I'm doing this somewhat quickly. And you can also scale the size to make different size stars if you want to. Make it more realistic. You can make them bigger, smaller. There you go. Got a nice space background here. It's nice stars. Now we can do is we can make them the same red if we please, or we can make them a low opacity white. In our case, we're just going to make them a low opacity red. So let's see if color 2 works. Somewhat works. We can copy paste it to make it a little brighter. So layers on top, and it looks pretty decent. Going to copy paste it one more time, and perfect. Now, I will say this, depending upon your space background, it will take up a lot of objects. So, we're going to make this be one, layered somewhat on top of the nebula, but not really. We're going to move the nebula down here. And there you go. You have the nebula, the stars, and don't forget the planet. Oops. And move it down, and voila. Amazing background. Beautiful. I love it. I love this background. We're going to play all of it together. And also, I'm going to do one more thing, which is the lens flare. So, learning all about space today in Geometry Dash. Alright, so lens flare, what we're going to do is I'm going to go use the... Let's use a medium-sized one this time. Get a yellow or orange, however you please, and have a low opacity. Copy paste it. Make this go like a little circle. Have a little circle here. Whoops, forgot to copy paste. There you go. Keep rotating. And if you want to, you can adjust the color however you please. I can raise the opacity, lower the opacity, but I'm going to keep it like this. Now what I can do is make a little nebula within it, a little glow inside of it, using a different color. Now I'm going to show you the saturation part of this. So let's see, we can do that. That's fine. Can we scale it down? Yes, we can. It's good to be able to scale at whatever feet you want. Alright, so we're just going to make this, so let's make it orange, since stick with theme. Well, actually, no. Let's make it a red. We're going to make this a red lens flare. So I'm going to adjust the color towards a red theme. Go ahead and select it, make it red. And select this. See now, right now it looks like a molten fire. So, well, we lower the opacity, not the opacity, lower the saturation, and it turns brighter and brighter until it turns white, as you can see here. So now we have a red tint surrounding it instead of being completely white. Now we move it in, and there we go. The lens flare is not complete yet. What we're going to do is use the pulsing circles right here. Alright. Use that same lower opacity orange. Scale it bigger. Spread it out. Make a smaller one. Make sure it's spread out a little bit. There we go. And if you don't want them to cross this, you can just move them over. Make sure they're aligned though. And we're going to keep that a single line. And to add a little bit more pizzazz to it, gonna make a little low opacity light beam coming out. Making that. And we can mix it in with that. So let's see here. Make it the low opacity red. Gonna copy paste, move it over. All I did was copy paste it. That's all I did. And moved it over so it looks like a little flame. Looks really nice. Whoops. Move it on top of the circles. Change the saturation. Also change the brightness. With brightness in a blending object, that lowers the opacity as well. So there you go. Nice little lens flare. You can scale it a little bit as well. And there you go. Have a nice little spatial background. You can layer this on top of the planet if you wish. Or it can be behind the planet, but there you go. Now I'm just going to select all of this and put it in one group. Move one. Whoops. I only have one move trigger for this. Lock players X. Group 1. Copy paste. Now we can make the planet move to our left or our right. I'm just going to make it move to our left. And there you go. Very nice looking planet. And the editor glitches a little bit. The editor glitches when all the glow just starts disappearing like that. Don't panic. The glow is still there. It's just a glitch within the editor. But there you go. That is all you have to do to make a spatial background. I hope you enjoy.